Hi everybody. I was thinking about another prolonged time where we all have to stay at home, and for that I might explore the subject of giving and receiving. Of course, we are now witnessing enormous amount of giving in hospitals and hospital staffs and active giving by various people, and that's wonderful, and God bless all the doctors and nurses. I, however, will be exploring with you a bit different or more maybe a home life giving and receiving, relationship giving and receiving, and relationship to our own self. And the whole aspect of can we actually give if we haven't received, and can we receive if we haven't given, and what it actually means. So now I'd love you to read an Irish poem, just as I always start with a little thoughts of somebody else. So I'll get my glasses on. And it's a blessing. May you listen to your longing to be free. May the frames of your belonging be large enough for the dreams of your soul. May you arise each day with a voice of blessing, whispering in your heart that something good is going to happen to you. May you find a harmony between your soul and your life. May the mansion of your soul never become a haunted place. May you know the eternal longing that is at the heart of time. May there be kindness in your gaze when you look within. May you never place walls between the light and yourself. May your angel free you from the prisons of guilt, fear, disappointment, and despair. May you allow the wild beauty of the invisible world to gather you, mind you, and embrace you in belongings. It's a lovely, lovely poem which conveys exactly what I am going to try to convey to you. I remember when I was reading Shakespeare that in some of his plays he says that it's a malady not to listen. Even he, and who knew the human nature so well, was talking about it. And in his plays, it's misunderstandings and consequences of not listening are great. So what it actually means to receive, I would like you to explore with you possibility of receiving yourself to yourself. And I think one of the ways in which you also have to receive, particularly if you haven't been received by mother or parents or significant others, that would be difficult for you, is to probably remember your dreams. Dreams are incredibly powerful way of knowing oneself and relating to oneself. And I always say that in dreams the Holy Spirit works. You learn who you are. They may challenge you, they may heal you, they may guide you. So dreams are very important to remember that what you think is not who you really are. Because of course our mind, our brain, can only produce a very narrow sense of self. And also it's full of rubbish in any case, full of hurt messages and scripts which are not necessarily truthful. So if we are to give from that angle, we may not be in a position to actually give, for instance, attention. Because what it means to have a relationship where everybody is received, it means that you listen with a different ear. And if you think about English, we have a kind of vocabulary which suggests various states of relating, or various ways of listening. We can say to one another that I listen and not hear, you see. We can say, I understand. It doesn't mean we receive. And that's a kind of maybe more masculine modality. And often you can be frustrated that people say, well, but I understood you. But have they? Well, I'm listening to you, you know. Listening doesn't mean you actually receive. We can talk at each other, we can talk to each other, and we can talk with one another. And I'm talking about talking with one another. No way can you be able to talk with one another unless you are, in a way, have an inner dialogue. So the quality of your relationships would be entirely dependent upon the quality of your inner relationship. When you're not friendly with yourself, when you don't like yourself, when you don't know yourself, you're actually not relating to yourself. So your giving might be a bit dodgy, if not to use the word narcissistic. Because in that form of giving, very often we are absolutely insist that we are praised for it. Or at least at some level of our being, we will be kind of expecting to be more acknowledged than it's necessary. And it will be very, very difficult, you see, to comprehend how different people are, how differently they perceive you, and how differently they will treat you. It will unnerve you. So let me just read you a little poem, very feminine poem, on that little subject. And this lady talks about feminine journey, but she puts now and again a little words of wisdom about her relationship to masculine and to men. I have heard enough warrior stories of heroic daring. Tell me how you crumble when you hit the wall. The place you cannot go beyond by the strength of your own will. What carries you to the other side of that wall? To the fragile beauty of your own humanness. Isn't that a profound saying? Can we be fragile? If we receive ourselves, and that means receiving our negatives and our shadow, and we know that we are fragile, that would be like in Sanskrit when you arrive at nothing, you know that something will come out of you. We will know that we can actually attend and give that kind of attention to others. If we are not there and we fight, we will never ever actually give. And this is probably a challenge for us all as we looked up and probably have to spend more time together. Can we receive more our partners? Can we hear them? Can we embrace their terror or frustration or discomfort? Can we put up with our children who climb the wall? Because that will be difficult, you see. And if we don't, what are we to do? That means that we will ruin the relationships before it begins. So it's a challenge, you see. Without this, we will not be in a position to actually survive the silence. Not only the outer silence, because you can see even the planes are not flying around London or above our head. It's weird. If we are not receiving the truth or reality, we will be unnerved by the changes. We will be unnerved by the unknown because we're not prepared for it. We don't have a base from which we can give indifferently. We don't have a base from which to relate to that reality. I remember Saint Teresa of Calcutta was very much a person who always talked about it, how centered that woman was, that she was able to exist in such a extraordinary reality and peacefully go about doing her own life as it was meant to be living. We, when we are not receptive to our own being, to our essence, to our soul, we spend lots of time being frustrated. And even if we say, oh, I give you my attention, shut up, I cook for you, I gave you lunch, and I wash your children, don't bother me. That is not giving, actually. There is no involvement of the heart. And you see, if the heart is not involved, and as I'm a musical person, I always say, even if you read the note, musical note, if you cannot hear the music, what use is that? And that is what it means to be in the head. You can be in the head, you can be very well versed in all sorts of stuff, and you can have millions of books in your head, and you still will not be able to neither receive nor give. So I'll read you something what Saint Teresa of Calcutta said. In the silence of the heart, God speaks. If you face God in prayer and prayer, God will speak to you. Then you will know that you are nothing. It's only when you realize your nothingness, your emptiness, that God can fill you with Himself. Souls of prayer and souls of playing can cope with great silences. And you see, silence have to be received in order for us to be real. And who can cope with silence when we are so busy and going crazy with all sorts of things? We can't cope with silence. So we need to therefore start the giving from the point of receiving. If we don't do that, I'm afraid that our giving would be a slightly questionable. I always think and meditate on what it means to listen attentively, what it means to listen with a purpose of receiving, what it means to give attention. So I'm talking about give attention to each other, give attention to your children. Sometimes animals are giving attention better than us. You can look at their eyes and you can see that they meet our eyes, that they are there for us. So I'll read you something at the end, which Karl Menninger said. Listening is a magnetic and strange thing, a creative force. The friends who listen to us are the ones which move us forward. When we are listened to, it creates us, makes us, comforts us, and expands us. So you see, in that kind of expansion which we experience ourselves through connecting to our dreams, or allowing our dreams to connect to ourselves through connecting to our body, for receiving our body, we can then clearly and comfortably move towards intimacy, intimate relationship with life, with our spouses, lovers, partners, children, with nature, with life. And as Vietnamese mystic put it, when you walk consciously, you will give flowers a kiss. Every step you make would be a relationship with life. So let's say a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Bye for now.